It is my absolute privilege to introduce Amy Wack for a chat this afternoon. Now, Amy was for 30 years the Seren poetry editor from 1992. She was the Poetry Wales Reviews editor, and she also began First Thursdays at Chapter. And here she is at the festival that you started a few years ago.
A number of years ago, yeah.
How has it been for you?
Well, it's wonderful just being mostly in the audience. I get to sit back and enjoy the great poetry, most of which I commissioned when I was at Seren. So it's like, it's great. It's fantastic. It's great to see that Rhian Edwards and Zoe Brigley will step into my shoes beautifully and just do the festival, do Seren Books, continue the whole literary legacy in Wales, especially starting Cardiff and South Wales. So it's great.
Yeah, it must be really nice actually to be able to almost interlink with them, and then the legacy keeps going of the poetry editing.
I mean, I've known Rhian since about 2015, but I've only sort of recently met Zoe and just thought she'd be an ideal person to edit this green anthology that I was thinking of. And she did such a superb job. And she seemed so personable that I just thought, oh, she'd be a great person to step into my shoes. And I found the pandemic and stuff quite kind of traumatic, so I just knew that it was probably time for me to go. And I think the Seren board also loved the idea, I think, of having new people, new times, new, you know, a new generation of people to like see this through. So that's
well, you know, I've only just met you, and I've only just met everybody actually, but I can see the loyalty and the love that individuals have for you here. So you've obviously made a massive impact.
Flattering and embarrassing at the same time.
But the showcase last night, how did you find that?
Oh, that was quite moving, but also I think kind of embarrassing. It's like you don't really want to like wave your own flag, do you? It's like you're here. I've always been here to like just help encourage a new generation of people. That's so important, and also to just give people the courage to keep going over a long period of time. Like the author that I just introduced, Russ Hudis, I've known her for years, and she's about the same age as me, and I turned her down before, but then she gave me this book, you know, that it's probably about the third or fourth book I've seen from her, but it was so beautiful. I thought, this is it, she's done it. She's worked really hard for years.
Fantastic.
And here's her book now. So that kind of thing is very gratifying, because you think, oh, I've probably disappointed somebody in the past, but there's always like the new chance, the next chance.
They were saying yesterday there's 8 submissions per day coming into the office.
That's hard. That is hard.
Trying to, you know, find publications must be quite tricky.
Yeah, it is. You have to be very discriminating, but at the same time not discouraging. You have to try, particularly when people live in Wales, you've got to try to like bring them along. I sometimes wonder if I didn't do that enough when I was editor. I tended to look like Kim Moore. I tended to find people when I went to other festivals. I'd find people, but they weren't necessarily from Wales. But I found some good people. I think who were from like relatively modest backgrounds who could, you know, make an impact. So that was lucky.
Yes, and you know, Kim Moore certainly did make an impact.
Oh yeah,
the other
she's wonderful,
day.
isn't she?
Fantastic.
Boy, the way she keeps going as well. She too, when I was editing her book that came out last year. There was one poem I thought, and she said, maybe we should just take it out. And I'm like, no, you need to really work at it. And I gave her a couple suggestions, and she worked at it, and she came back, and it was so much better. And she's like, oh, but I'm not sure about it still. I'm like, oh, yes, you are. So sometimes people just need that little push, like.
Yes, yeah, you know, and for emerging writers, it's so important to have somebody just to, you know, say something to you, give you a bit of encouragement, to push you forward.
Listening, just listening, and you will hear things.
Yes. But for yourself now, what does the future hold?
I'm working on some weird hybrid memoir / art book about old photographs.
Fantastic.
So we'll see where that goes. I don't know where it's going. I suddenly realized I have to market it, which is like, oh dear. I always did that for everybody else. So.
Seren Festival and next year in a couple of years'
time.
We'll see,
maybe I'll be here with my weird photographs. You know, it's like, we'll see. So.
Well, I for one look forward to seeing them.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you so much for our chat today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, good luck. I've heard good things about you guys too. Like, they're doing a really good job. Like.
Awesome. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I really enjoy writing nature and environmental pieces.
Oh, wow.
And I was just wondering if you can recommend any collections. I've already got the 100 poems. But any other particular...
Boy, Zoe, you want to talk to about that.
Zoe.
Have you spoken to Zoe about...
I was going to today.
She's a good... Oh, she's not here.
No.
She's the big echo poetry person.
I shall do
Who else?
that.
There's a couple companies that just do echo poems. I was just
Okay.
looking up one in America the other day, and it's a whole little company, and they just do echo stuff.
Okay.
Wish I could remember their name, but I'm sure if you Googled it,
Google.
you'd find the big American company that does it. Not that big. They'd be the same size as Seren, but all their books are echo books.
Oh, brilliant.
So I think that's starting to happen
Thank
now.
you.
It's starting to happen.
Yes.
The specialist
yes.
publications. And it's all how, when you approach a publisher, it's all how you describe it.
Okay.
They want the paragraph of really exact description. What are you doing? Why?
Okay.
What are you talking about? And that can really work to like hook a publisher into, because everybody's looking for a theme they can easily grasp.
Okay.
At least, maybe you can get away with hybrid a bit more too. I've noticed in recent times. I was just in the library looking at all the library books, and there used to be a poetry section, but there's no poetry section now. But there's the nonfiction has gone completely hybrid.
Yeah.
There used to be a really defined biography section, but that's gone completely memoir, hybrid, history, which is interesting. It gives people more opportunity, I think. But at the same time, you've got to hook people into what you're doing exactly.
Yeah.
Like when you say echo poetry, is it about a specific place?
Okay.
Is it about that?
For me,
Yeah.
initial thoughts would be initially my garden.
Garden? Yeah.
Because it's our home. And something that I've learned this weekend is that sanctuary, home is all connected, that sense of belonging, that sense of wellness, and it's all integrated within our world and what's happening with our climate crisis. So I thought about staying close to home, first of all, bringing in my children as well into it, and the rhythms of nature alongside the rhythms of my children.
So is this in Cardiff?
I'm in Carmarthen.
Carmarthen, okay.
Yes, yes.
That's probably better being but it's more, maybe people would associate Carmarthen more with nature, or?
It's quite green, I find, and where I live as well, I'm so lucky. Our garden, I'm on the edge of Carmarthen, so our garden backs up onto the woods, and it's just on the hill, and I could see the River Towie down in the valley, and that's another thing that I would love to write about.
Very specific. The more specific you can be about the names of things, the better.
Right. Okay.
Because you know who does this a lot? Philip Gross will write about wherever he lives, the Cardiff poet who was here yesterday. Like he's living in Penarth now, and he has all these poems about the Dingle, which is this funny little place in Penarth in the park. I finally found out where it was the other day. Like, well, this is the Dingle. The little local pits are the most important things you can do.
Okay.
Like, or Robert Minhinnick, who's he's the other person you should know to deal with echo poetry.
Yeah.
Because he's been running Sustainable Wales, which is the first kind of echo organization in Wales for years, and he just knows everything. He can be kind of crabby about it, but it's because he's very demanding. But his point is it starts in your backyard.
Okay.
Starts local.
Yes.
And you want to keep it local in a way.
Yeah, it's what I know, it's what I love, it's what I really care about.
Yes.
So
I like how you tied in the family with it as well. That's slightly different.
Okay.
Because people have, who am I thinking of? Alice Oswald? Do you ever heard this poet?
Yeah.
You know how she did that whole book about the Dart, which is her local river?
Yes.
Beautiful echo book, very specific to a place. Does she use her family in there? I don't think so. The family is a new thing. I think particularly the kids, that's quite good.
Yes, I shall definitely.
Though I don't know if you might want to change the names to protect the kids. Or
Yeah.
But yeah, good idea. Good luck with that.
Thank you
Sounds
so
good.
much.
Also, I quite like when people put artwork with nature things.
Okay.
Like there's this wonderful artist, Valerie Price. She works with Philip Gross, and they'll do a project together where they're talking about a river, and she goes and walks down it and then paints it. Or picks up little bits of stones and stuff. And she does an installation to go with the poems, which is...
My dream would be to go to the source of the Towie up in the Cambrian Mountains and attempt to walk the length of it to where it goes out in the source, so the sea in Llansteffan in Carmarthen Bay.
Oh yes,
That would be my dream.
Oh, Llansteffan, I love it there.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? But collecting things along the way then to use would be amazing.
Yeah. Or taking photographs, the way Tom takes photographs.
Yeah.
Though I love his little fox photographs, the ones you take on Facebook, and he's got this little familiar fox who comes to his back garden. Is it your back garden?
No.
No, it's somebody else's back garden.
We will pretend it's your back garden.
Pretend it's your
He wishes it was his back garden.
But I love that little nature theme that kind of.
Yes. Well, thank you so
Sure.
much.
I better go
Again,
intro.
so incredibly giving.
Yes.
Thank you, Amy.